For 1,123 years. It did not fall. Every army that came for it turned back. Every siege that tried to starve it failed. Every fleet that sailed against it burned. The Avars came. And left. The Arabs came. Twice. And left. The Rus came. And left. The Crusaders came, and stayed for a while. But eventually, they too left. Because Constantinople was not just a city. It was an idea. The idea that civilization, once built strong enough, could not be destroyed. And then, on a Tuesday morning in May, 1453, in the space of a single night, it was gone. The night before the city fell, Emperor Constantine XI Palaiologos attended what he knew would be his last church service. He was 53 years old. He had ruled the Byzantine Empire, the Eastern Roman Empire, the direct continuation of Rome itself, for 4 years. And in those 4 years, he had watched his inheritance shrink to almost nothing. By the time Constantine took the throne, the Byzantine Empire was not really an empire anymore. It was a city. A single, extraordinary, impossibly ancient city. Surrounded on all sides by the Ottoman Empire of Sultan Mehmed II. At the service, Constantine did something that no Byzantine emperor had done in living memory. He asked forgiveness from his soldiers, from his people, for anything he had done, or failed to do, as their emperor. The accounts say grown men wept. Veterans who had held the walls for weeks, wept. Then Constantine rose, embraced each of his commanders, mounted his horse, and rode the length of the walls. One final time, in the dark, alone, in silence. He would not survive the next 12 hours. And he knew it. But to understand why this emperor was riding alone through the darkness of his dying city, we need to go back. Not to the beginning of the siege, but to the beginning of the end. When the Western Roman Empire collapsed in 476 AD, when that boy Emperor Romulus Augustulus handed over his crown without a fight, the eastern half did not collapse with it. It survived. It survived the fall of Rome. It survived the plague of Justinian, which killed perhaps a third of its population. It survived the Arab conquests that stripped away Egypt, Syria, and North Africa. It survived the Seljuk Turks. It survived the Crusaders, who, in 1204, actually conquered and looted Constantinople themselves. Healed. The Byzantines reclaimed their city in 1261. But they reclaimed a shadow of what it had been. The population had collapsed. The economy was broken. The military, never again the force it once was now dependent on foreign mercenaries, on Genoese traders, on the charity of Western powers, who viewed Constantinople as a useful buffer between themselves and the East. The Byzantines became experts at one thing above all others: survival, diplomacy, delay, negotiation, playing enemies against each other, making small empires feel large, making weakness look like patience. For 2 centuries after 1261, they managed it. And then came Mehmed. He was 21 years old when he became Sultan. Everyone assumed he would be manageable. Everyone was wrong. Mehmed too had been obsessed with Constantinople since childhood. Not with destroying it, with inheriting it. He read the Greek and Roman classics in their original languages. He kept portraits of Caesar and Alexander in his private chambers. He did not think of himself as the destroyer of Rome's legacy. He thought of himself as its successor. To take Constantinople was not conquest. It was completion. And unlike every ruler who had come before him, Mehmed understood exactly why every previous siege had failed. The walls. The Theodosian walls were the greatest defensive structure in the medieval world. Triple-layered. 60 meters thick at the base. Towers every 50 meters. Built to withstand anything the ancient or medieval world could throw at them. And for 1,000 years, they had. Mehmed's solution was not to find a better army. It was to find a bigger gun. A Hungarian engineer named Orban had offered this cannon to Constantine XI first. Constantine couldn't afford it. Mehmed could. History sometimes turns on a budget shortfall. By April 1453, Mehmed's army of 80,000 soldiers, some accounts say more, surrounded Constantinople. Inside the walls, approximately 7,000 defenders. 7,000 against 80,000. The city sent desperate messages to the west, to the Pope, to Venice, to Genoa, to Hungary. Come, please. We are the last wall between you and the east. Some ships came. Too few. Too late. The siege began on April 6th. The cannons fired every day for 53 days. And for 53 days, the walls held. Until they didn't. Mehmed had learned something in 53 days of siege. The walls would not break cleanly. They could be damaged. Sections could be crumbled. But the defenders repaired them, with wood, with rubble. With their own bodies if necessary, faster than the cannons could destroy them. So Mehmed chose a different strategy. He would not break the walls. He would exhaust the men behind them. The assault began at midnight. 4 hours, the walls held. The 7,000 defenders, exhausted, outnumbered. Fighting in sections so thin that some men held 300 meters of wall alone, held. The Genoese commander Giovanni Giustiniani had been at the heart of the defense for weeks. The man was extraordinary, a professional soldier, who had made the impossible merely improbable. And then, a crossbow bolt or bullet found a gap in his armor. Giustiniani was taken to a ship in the harbor. He survived the battle. He died shortly after, of his wounds. But in the moment he was carried from the wall, the soldiers who watched him go did something that historians still debate. Some of them followed. Not many. Not most. But enough. The Ottomans found it. They always find the gap. 1,000 years of walls, undone by an unlocked door. By dawn, the Ottoman flag flew from the walls. Constantine XI, the last emperor of Rome, tore off his imperial regalia in the final moments. He did not want to be taken alive. He did not want to be a prisoner or a symbol. He wanted to be a soldier. He charged into the breach. His body was never conclusively identified. The last emperor of Rome simply disappeared into the fall of his city. Here is the question that historians have argued for 570 years. Why didn't the West come? 7,000 people held Constantinople against 80,000 for 53 days. If 10,000 Western soldiers had arrived, if 20 Venetian warships had broken the Ottoman blockade, if the Pope's crusade had materialized into something more than letters and promises. The reasons were many. And they were old. The Great Schism of 1054 had split the Christian Church, Catholic West and Orthodox East, into two institutions that prayed to the same God, and despised each other almost as much as they despised their common enemies. The Byzantines had made a desperate attempt at unity. The Council of Florence in 1439, agreeing to submit to the Pope's authority in exchange for military aid. The Pope was pleased. The military aid did not come. And inside Constantinople, the clergy who had agreed to the union were so despised by their own people that one Byzantine official reportedly said, "I would rather see the turban of the Sultan in the midst of the city than the Latin mitre." He got his wish. But the failure was not only religious. It was economic. The trade routes that had once made Constantinople the wealthiest city on earth had been systematically redirected by the Venetians and Genoese, the very merchants who were nominally Constantinople's greatest allies. Why save the golden goose when you've already stolen its eggs? And perhaps most devastatingly, the Byzantine Empire had spent its final century not fighting its external enemies, but fighting itself. No fewer than 4 civil wars. In the last 100 years of Byzantine history, Byzantines hiring Ottoman soldiers to fight other Byzantines. Byzantines inviting Ottoman rulers into their dynastic disputes, teaching their eventual destroyer the layout of their own defenses. The Ottoman Empire did not defeat Byzantium. Byzantium handed the Ottoman Empire the tools to finish what Byzantium had already started doing to itself. The gate that ended the empire wasn't forced. It was unlocked from the inside. When news of Constantinople's fall reached Europe, the reaction was shock. Genuine, disbelieving shock. Because here is what no one had quite processed. Even as the signs accumulated for decades, Constantinople was not just a city. It was the living link to the ancient world. Its libraries held manuscripts of Plato and Aristotle, of Euclid and Archimedes, texts that existed nowhere else in the world. Its scholars were the last people alive who read classical Greek as a native language. Its legal traditions were the unbroken continuation of Roman law. Its art, its architecture, its theology, the accumulated inheritance of a civilization that traced itself back not decades, not centuries, but millennia. Many of those scholars fled to Italy. They brought their manuscripts with them. And historians now believe that the fall of Constantinople, the trauma of it, the shock of it, and the flood of Byzantine scholars into the Italian city-states helped ignite the Renaissance. The death of one civilization seeded the birth of another. History is rarely a clean ending. More often it is a transformation. Something dying, and something else growing from the same roots. But for the people inside those walls, on the morning of May 29, 1453, there was no consolation in what would come after. There was only the morning, and the silence where the bells used to ring. The thing about empires is that they never believe. They are the ones who will fall. Every civilization that has ever collapsed had citizens who believed, genuinely, reasonably believed, that their walls were strong enough, that their enemies were manageable, that their internal divisions were temporary, that someone would come to help before it was too late. The Byzantine Empire survived for over 1,000 years by being adaptable, resilient, and politically sophisticated. It fell because, in its final century, it stopped being those things. It fell because its leaders spent their energy fighting each other instead of their common threat. It fell because the powers that could have saved it calculated that saving it was not worth the cost. Until the cost became a world without it. It fell because a small, forgotten gate was left unlocked on the wrong night. Empires are not destroyed by their enemies alone. They are destroyed by the accumulation of decisions that seemed reasonable at the time. The alliance not made. The reform delayed. The enemy underestimated. The gate left unlocked. Constantine XI rode along his walls in the dark. Because he understood, finally, what no amount of diplomacy had been able to prevent. He was not riding to inspire his men. He was saying goodbye. The Queen of Cities fell on a Tuesday. May 29, 1453. By Wednesday, the world was different. Not because of what was destroyed, but because of how few people, right up until Tuesday, had truly believed that it could be. The walls are still there. You can walk along them. You can press your hand to the stone that Constantine rode past in the dark. On the last night of his world. And if you are very still, you can feel what civilizations never feel. Until it is too late to matter. That the gate was always open. That the danger was always already inside. That empires don't fall overnight. They simply run out of mornings.